sleet here in Northeast Ohio as this winter storm continues. We have a long way still to go, and that is probably the most important message that I could tell everybody. Roads are very sloppy at this hour. We do have a lot going on the radar and, of course, the impacts on the roads. It looks like it's crazy heavy snow throughout parts of Akron, back into Ashland, over toward Kent. In Stark County, we are dealing with sleet, and then farther south, we're still getting some freezing rain reports. Meanwhile, the lighter snow up along the lakeshore areas, but the roads are a mess. And I think things are going to go downhill as the day goes on. We are far from over, friends, because the snow is just really starting to get going. This is what I'm really concerned about. As we go through the rest of the evening, this surge of moisture and heavy, intense snow and the continuation of the sleet will continue over Northeast Ohio, and we will continue to have accumulations coming up. Meanwhile, very windy conditions will be causing blowing, drifting snow right along the lakeshore and farther to the south as temperatures continue to drop. Right now we are in the low 20s, but we will take temperatures into the teens for the day tomorrow. So all of the slush is going to be freezing up. We are right on track with this winter storm. We're going to hop over on our digital streams, all platforms, for a live stream. I'll give you the breakdown of what's happening on digital. See you there.
And welcome in to our winter storm extended digital coverage. I'm Sarah Schuckman. You were just hearing from Betsy, and we have crews all across the region as the waves of this storm move through. Some of us are experiencing snow, others sleet and ice. And we begin with a live look now from photojournalist Randy White, who is out driving in these conditions. He is in Vermillion. Looks like he is on a side street there. I know he was just on 90 most recently. You can see the roads pretty much covered in snow to the west. And we want to get to our reporter, Nate Belt. He joins us from our sister station in Grand Rapids, and he's standing by in Luna Pier, Michigan. Nate, how you holding up?
Yeah, here in southeast Michigan, the snow is really coming down. I'm having a hard time even seeing right now. It's still coming down. It's coming down really consistently since about yesterday afternoon. And as we have mentioned throughout our broadcast the last few days, it is not going to stop anytime soon. I'll take a step to the side so you can see the roads. We actually just had a plow come through here, so the snow is at least off the roads, but there is a lot of slush, and there is still ice everywhere, kind of where I'm standing in this parking lot right here. There's just all kinds of ice underneath the snow. So that's something you definitely want to keep an eye out for. You know, even if you aren't able to see it, there's probably ice there. So just take it carefully when you're out driving around. You know, as we're driving, just watching here, you can see these cars taking things slow as they go along the road here. So again, the snow not expected to stop throughout the rest of today. So continue to just stay safe as you're out on the roads. If you have to go out, and if you don't have to, I advise probably going to stay inside. Right now, we're going to send it back into the studio.
All right. Thank you, Nate. You've been keeping an eye out on the front edge of all of this. And it's time now to get a check of the weather. Chief Meteorologist Betsy Kling has been standing by. So, Betsy, you were warning us, beware of the second wave. Do you think we're kind of in the thick of it now?
The wave is just beginning, Sarah. So we will see an uptick in the snow. Yeah, an uptick in the snow through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening. That is why we know conditions will continue to deteriorate, and we are far from the end of this, everybody. We still have probably 24 hours of snow here in Northeast Ohio before all is said and done. Sleet is the issue south in Canton area and south, and that will persist through the rest of the afternoon into the evening until the heart of this storm, the heart of that second wave goes by, and then that will introduce the cooler air into the middle layers of the atmosphere, and that should get that sleet to change over to snow. Meanwhile, wind is causing blowing and drifting issues. That is going to be a big deal, especially on east-west roads. Let's face it, north-south roads too, depending upon where you are. But this snow is going to fluff up as the afternoon continues. We already have the fluffy snow here in downtown Cleveland. We already have drifts in downtown Cleveland, and it will continue to deteriorate through the afternoon. At the same time we're drifting, we also have wind chill issues to talk about. So the wind chills are going to be dropping. Friends, this storm is incredible in meteorological standards. It's like 2,500 miles of storm. and we are down to about a 20-mile zone where we're trying to figure out exactly where the sleet cutoff is going to be, and the sleet cutoff is where our highest snow totals will be this afternoon, so north of the sleet. But you can definitely see the big moisture plume that is coming north. Look at the thunderstorms breaking out here in the deep south. Peyton, didn't you tell me they have a tornado watch? In what state? Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, so down in here. This is a tornado watch. So now we've got winter storm warnings and tornado watches. And you can also see this plume right there. So that is really where our second wave is currently. It was down in Texas yesterday. It's going to continue to move to the northeast. As that energy gets in toward West Virginia, that will help to pull in the colder air, and so we should be able to get rid of the sleet later on today. Surface temperatures definitely dropped. Last night, walking to the hotel a block and a half from our station, I was walking and it was kind of, you know, snowy and kind of goopy and whatnot, and I stepped in a puddle and you could see my footprint. Let me say that one more time. I stepped in a puddle and my footprint stayed there. So it wasn't just, you know, liquid. We had some freezing starting to take place, and everything's going to be freezing up. This frigid air that's off to the northwest of us is just starting to move in. We've got to wait for the second wave to go by before that frigid air swings in here, and we're talking temperatures tomorrow probably in the teens. We've been watching this storm unfold for like, what, 5 days now, 6 days? It's just been incredible to see it. And we've known all along this storm was going to be a big one, and look at the extent of these warnings. So we are still under the winter storm warning here. Did you see farther south of Columbus, they have an ice storm warning. That's where the freezing rain is. We don't have to worry about freezing rain as much. If we do, it's our far southern areas like Naden-Hutton and down into Uricksville and even south of Carrollton at this point. But I think a lot of that is still sleet right now. The winter storm warning basically means we have a high impact event. This is what we've been telling you. And as I said before, we are far from over. So the snow has been coming down, and you can see the colors are getting a little darker. We have more intense snow that is falling. At the same time, we've been watching this. This is the sleet mix. Now, keep in mind, the radar loves to try and interpret what's going on. So there are algorithms built in, there's fancy computer magic that happens, and it's trying to interpret what precipitation type all of this is. There's a bunch of different ways that that is done. But our radars are equipped with other tools, and these other tools help us distinguish different features of the radar. What are we trying to find out? At this point, this is when we turn on correlation coefficient. So the correlation coefficient, I like to explain it as some of these things are not like the others, okay? So anything that is solid red is all showing great correlation, very similar. And in this case, this is all snow. When you get into these oranges and reds down here, this means something is different, and that would be the sleet in this case. Farther south, it turns all dark red again, and that's where it is still rain, and it's freezing rain that is falling. So as we have moved through the afternoon, this line has been fluctuating just a little bit. I think this should play for me. Yay! And you can see there's little pulses here. So when we get these little pulses, you may notice an uptick in the sleet, or it could be sleet-snow mix, or you may be getting snow that's not quite pretty snow. It's granular snow. And this line is expected to hold. This came about 20 miles farther north than expected. Let me remind you, this storm is 2,500 miles long. It's impacting hundreds of thousands of square miles, and we're down to a 20-mile shift in track. That's incredible. And so, yeah, we do have an adjustment as far as the snow totals go, especially for our southern counties. Farther north, though, it's game on. We're right in the thick of things. Lynn Myers just sent this to me on Twitter, and Matt, too. Lovely Canton. So people in Cleveland are thinking, oh, my gosh, we've got all this snow, and it's fluffy, it's blowing, it's drifting, it's crazy. And in Canton, you can see they just kind of have this little granular ice, and this is the sleet, and maybe a little freezing rain that's mixed in there too. So it is an icy situation in Canton. Meanwhile, in Strongsville, southwest of Cleveland, it's a winter wonderland with fluffy snow falling, nice pretty flakes. The wind kicks up and it makes swirls and whatnot. But Megan says she has to make paths in the backyard for the dogs. And Betsy wasn't lying when she said the snow would be heavy. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. This is the one I actually chuckled when I popped it up. Sally sent this in, and this is how everybody feels. Look at that little face. Little face, right? So I know the kids are home from school. They want to get out and play. Today's the day to let them get out and play. Even though it's windy, bundle them up. They'll be fine. Temperatures are still in the 20s. It's going to be colder tomorrow, so that might be something to think about. All right. So as indicated before, we have this sleet mix that's going on farther south. Meanwhile, it's moderate to heavy snow that is falling throughout areas north of US 30 specifically, and I would even say north of 224 and 76, and then right around the 71 corridor. I just saw some storm reports, snow reports that came in on the National Weather Service. I believe Norwalk has about 7 inches just reported, and Mansfield has 6 inches. So if you kind of draw this line, remember that interesting sleet mix was just south of Mansfield. So we have heavy snow that is falling, and that is a 6-hour report. So 6 inches of snow in 6 hours, that's inch per hour rates. So if we say we've got 8 hours still to go, ouch, now we're talking some significant snow. The roads are a mess. The crews are doing what they can, and from here on out, they will not keep up as these snow rates pick up. You can see all of the accidents here. We've had closures on the turnpike from time to time, and I think as the rest of the afternoon gets into the evening commute, this is going to be the story. So we are probably starting a 4 o'clock newscast today, heads up. And Danielle's staying, bless her heart. Danielle Wiggins is going to come back. She's going to help us out with traffic through the 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock hours as we see all of this unfolding. Snow rates are a huge part of this storm because we really haven't had huge snow rates yet. We've had kind of moderate to heavy. Now we're going to kick it up a notch. And these heavy snow rates will last through the rest of the afternoon into the evening. Probably after about 8 o'clock. That's when we'll start to see it backing off. And it's just going to be a little bit. I really don't think the snow intensity for Cleveland drops off until after 10. And for Akron and Point South, this heavy snow will last into the morning. That is on top of the sleet that you are getting now. So there is definitely a little bit of a shift. But the temperatures are going to play a big role here. And as the air column cools, we will finally see this all changing to snow. And as I mentioned yesterday, the fluff factor goes up. So very cold air, it changes the ratio of how much snow can be produced from 1 inch of rain. And you can get some pretty impressive ratios, but you have to consider we're not necessarily getting the full inch of rain. So it's a little bit of a dice game, if you will. But this snow, this line is not going to be moving all that much until after about 8 o'clock. Once we get that 8 o'clock shift taking place, we'll find that sleet mix moving out. This is why that sleet mix is happening. At about 5,000 feet or so, the temperatures are pretty close to freezing, if not just above freezing. So this is now 2 o'clock, and we've got surface. So this is ground level temperatures, 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 18,000 feet. We're below freezing for the whole column, but we're close enough, and I think that this is where the forecast models can't really see the details, and this is why forecasting sleet versus snow becomes so critical, and it becomes so difficult, because we know for a fact that we have sleet that is falling in the Akron area and south and that would be because of a warm layer at about 5,000 feet or so. But if that warm layer is just under 5,000 feet, the models may not pick it up. And so we continue to have this very tricky forecast. After 5 p.m., though, you could see how the temperatures drop, and that should alleviate the sleet issue from north to south. So it's been a long go for those folks. Now, again, the roads are a mess, and whether it's sleet, whether it's snow, whether it's blowing snow, this is not going to be changing. Now we're going to drop the temperatures tonight back into the single digits, and that starts to play with the workability of the salt, unfortunately. This is a live look at ODOT, Westlake camera, and you can see there are tracks. So, hey, people can make it out. Confident snow drivers, game on for you. You got no issues if you are confident driving in the snow. However, as I just showed you, the roads are a mess, and there are a lot of people who are not as confident in the snow, and they tend to go slower. So now you've got the people who are slowing down, which is probably a good idea, and the people who are not only confident snow drivers, but occasionally overconfident snow drivers, and oftentimes they're the ones that cause the issues. because they're going too fast or they lose control, and it's just a mess. So that is the situation out to the west. Look at east on 90. Yuck, Eddy Road. It's just slush and it's accumulating. The crews are not going to keep up the rest of the afternoon. We're going to see this snow over, and they're not going to be able to keep up. They're going to try, I promise. They are out. ODOT is fully staffed and rolling, and the local road crews are doing a great job too. But, you know, there comes a point where we can only take so much, and then Mother Nature starts to win. Now, Akron South. This is Arlington Road, south of Akron. So we're talking down probably about halfway from the central interchange to the Akron-Canton Airport. And you can see there's not as fluffy snow as we were seeing farther to the north. And it's looking very slushy on the roads, but they are passable. This will change once things go downhill later today. So if you have to get out in Akron, you feel pretty confident, I just got to get this one thing done, go now. Get it over with, take your time, because later on it's going to get a little bit worse. New Philadelphia has been dealing with freezing rain and sleet. You can see the kind of low-hanging clouds here, a lot of fog, light fog being reported. There is definitely a glazing on many surfaces, and it is tricky and slippery across the area, especially once you get off the highway. Lots of hills and dales, lots of township road crews that are very limited in their capacities to deal with a storm like this, so it's going to take them a lot of time to get through it. Let's go through this hour-by-hour forecast. This is an updated one, and you can clearly see where that sleet line is. Again, 20-mile difference north and south is going to be a huge difference as far as how the accumulations wrap up. 5 p.m., look how the temperatures are coming down with that northeast wind. Also on the lake, we have a lot of ice, and as the northeast wind picks up, we may have an ice shove. So that's a big push of ice coming toward the shoreline. The wind keeps pushing the ice. The ice has nice momentum, and it just kind of rolls up on the shore. So something for our lakeshore friends to keep an eye on, especially west of Cleveland. Farther south, we're still dealing with the sleet mix in Dover, New Philadelphia, Carrollton, all the way through 5 p.m., probably even till 8 or 9 p.m., and then we'll see the changeover. This is ballpark timing. Don't go down to the minute here because, you know, at this point, we're still kind of just trying to keep up. But when that shift takes place, this is when we get the fluffy snow coming in on top of the icing that has already happened in Canton, areas like Worcester, and then down into Millersburg. So you already have this icy coating. Now we're going to throw some fluffy snow on top of it. Doesn't that sound like joy? And then once we get into the latter part of the night tonight, we are still dealing with this. Look at where that sleet line is. This is, I can't even tell you how meteorologically this is just cray-cray. Jim Cantori is in Columbus. He was in Detroit yesterday, and he was a little salty this morning. I texted with him a little bit. He was on his way to Columbus, and he's not loving Columbus because it is gridlock down there. Not a good situation. Meanwhile, by about midnight Friday morning, we're starting to see some of the drier air pulling in, so we are seeing the snow backing off. So this is tonight at midnight. And then that snow continues farther south. Now, we may still have a couple of waves come our way as we head through the day on Friday. I think we may put down maybe another inch or two on top of whatever comes down tonight. But the bulk of the snow will now be falling from now until the midnight hour. Then tomorrow afternoon, look at the temperatures. We are in the teens. We may have some flurries lingering, and we're probably going to see things partially clearing out by sunset. We may actually get a really good shot of the sunset tomorrow evening. But then the temperatures crash. If we do clear out for a period, and there is a chance that we will really see some frigid temperatures. Arctic air is in place. We have a brand new snowpack, calming winds, and you can see temperatures likely going below zero throughout a good chunk of the area. We've adjusted the accumulation maps a little bit. I know you have suffered through so much of me talking and blathering on, and this is all anybody really wants to see. But here's the thing. From Sunday to today, the messaging has been, don't focus on the numbers, focus on the impacts. These are storm total accumulations. I had a lot of people saying, I woke up this morning and I thought I was going to have a foot of snow. Nope. This was a long period snow, long duration storm, and we kind of just aimed the numbers to the finish line. So you can see this is snow and sleet accumulation through Friday. So for areas south of Akron, you still have the possibility of 5 to 8 inches of snow on top of that ice that you have now. Farther south, there will be less. This line, I can't even tell you, poor Peyton has been dealing with me pushing the line to Canton, pushing it to Akron, pushing it south of Canton, pushing it north of Canton, pushing it to Akron. Okay, the Akron-Canton Airport. We have gone back and forth. This map drives me crazy at this point because I have touched it so many times and I'm trying to get it down. But as I mentioned, 2,500-mile storm, and I am dealing with a 20-mile zone that I think we're going to have a pretty big change in how much snow accumulates. So 8 to 11 does not mean everybody gets 11. It's a range for a reason, and the blowing and drifting is going to complicate things. The impacts are more important than the actual numbers, but it's a pretty good hit for us, certainly. These are the impacts. Road travel, already highly impacted. Air travel, already highly impacted. School closings, you're welcome. Except for the kids who had to go remote. I'm really sorry about the whole technology thing that the pandemic brought on, because that really stinks. But power outages could still be an issue, especially in those southern areas, as that snow changes over and it starts to pile up on those icy surfaces. Please, friends, just take it easy today and be careful if you have to go out. A lot of folks packed in, hunkered down. You don't have to go anywhere. Just smile and know you were prepared and you were ready. We will give you updates. I believe we're going to do these updates at the top of every hour. Jason's here, Peyton's here. We're going to start rotating in a little bit for these digital updates. As we get ready, we have a 4 o'clock newscast, we have a 5 o'clock newscast, we have our 6 o'clock newscast, we have our 7 o'clock newscast, and the 11 later tonight. Tomorrow morning, we have extra help coming in too as this storm continues, and we've got those frigid temperatures. But once we hit about 11 o'clock tonight, I think we turn and it becomes more of a news story than a weather story. So we can breathe a little bit here in the weather department. And we have our crews out all over the place, and we'll keep that team coverage going. So thank you to everybody who has been hitting us up on social media. We really love the pictures. If you don't have our app, the WKYC app, there's a really slick little feature in there called the Near Me feature. And you can hit that and upload pictures or video right into it. So now is the time, if you've got the cute kid pictures or the dog running in snow pictures or the bunny or whatever pictures that you want to showcase, that's a really good way to do it, because it's a great way to get it into us, and so we can hopefully get some of our web folks to post those and make things kind of happen digitally for everybody. So, all right, I am going to sign off for now. We will be back again at the top of the hour with a full breakdown again. This is mostly just a brain dump for 20 minutes. That's a lot going on in my brain. And then I will see you back here and on Channel 3 at 4 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.